We are blessed here at Scheller, Analisa, with a very rich advisor-to-student ratio. What I mean by that is we're always available to meet with students. There's nothing more important that we do than meet with students.
Welcome to another episode of the Intersection Podcast, brought to you by the Georgia Tech Scheller College of Business. I'm your host, Analisa Wade. I'm a first-year full-time MBA student here at Scheller. We're excited to bring you another episode, a part of our summer series, featuring career services expert Dave Deiters. Hi, Dave. How are you?
You've never called me an expert before. I'm glad. You just made my day.
I threw that in there to kind of make you more relaxed, a little bit more comfortable. It looks like it worked. That's good.
I think, you obviously know your job.
Thank you. So can you tell us a little bit about the career services team, what you do? I think I read somewhere you're the #1 career services team in the...
You might have read that.
Yeah?
You know, I will say I appreciate you bringing that up, but to use a little bit of an analogy, I mean, recognition like that and ratings and rankings are kind of outcomes. Our focus is really on every individual student's journey. If we do a good job on the journey and with each individual student, the ratings like that kind of take care of themselves. But we certainly didn't set it. It's wonderful. It's terrific to be recognized. Didn't set out for that. But thank you for bringing that up. But our job really is to help understand each student, understand what they really want, understand their dream, understand what their journey is, because every journey is different, not just even those journeys that want the same job. Everyone's starting from a different place, so the journey's different. And so we try to help the student understand what it is they want, but then help them represent their very best self into that thing they want.
You keep talking about this thing called a journey. I know I've had a very roller coaster.
You've had a fascinating journey.
Fascinating. I like that word better than what I had in mind.
Perhaps an entire podcast to be dedicated to your journey.
Or not. So when you talk about journey, where does this journey necessarily begin with career services? At what point do you come in?
Well, it's starting now. If you're hearing this in the summer, for a couple of reasons. One, we're finding that employers, in an effort to get to the very best students, or those students that are the most closely match what they're looking for, they're starting the recruiting process earlier and earlier and earlier. But we want to reach out and connect with our incoming students, the full-time students like you are, well before they even get to Scheller for orientation. We want to have some momentum. We want to have some relationship so that when we do get here for orientation, the student can hit the ground running. And as you know, that first semester, it hits you, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And by the way, we tell everyone, including Analisa, it's going to hit you. Oh, no, I can handle it. I can handle it. And but everybody gets through it. Everybody's going to be fine. But it's great to have some of the basics done before that starts. So we want to try to have some of the basic paperwork. Let's get a good working resume. Let's get, a kind of standard idea of what you want to say about yourself. How do you want to introduce yourself? And oh, by the way, what are some of the things that are top of mind that you think you might want to pursue? And we want to have enough connection with the students so that coming in the door, they don't get FOMO. Okay, they don't say, "Oh, well, I run into somebody who's already got their internship. I don't even know what I want to do." That's okay. That's why we're here. We're here to help you explore. Everyone finds success at very different times. So to help students through that process, we really want to get started early. So, we'll typically begin the reach out as early as May.
As early as May. I remember my summer. It feels like it was
like forever.
Yeah, I'm like trying to think back like it was like years ago. It was literally months ago. Yeah. But I remember my summer and some of the things that were top of mind for me. We were given all these assignments and I was trying to just prioritize, okay, what do I think is the most important? But one thing that really made me nervous was this idea of presenting myself perfectly. So before I set my meeting with my career service advisor, It took me a long time. I almost waited to the last minute to make that meeting because I wanted my resume to be perfect. I wanted my cover letter to be perfect. How should one deal with that idea of perfectionism, before actually getting in contact with the team?
Well, I mean, other than you, perfect doesn't exist, right? But no, I mean, we're here to help you achieve. Remember, we want to help you represent your very best self. I didn't say perfect. You don't want to set yourself up to be disappointed. So I think that the idea is to leverage your career coach, build that relationship, let your career coach help you get into touch with some thoughts that maybe you didn't have. Let your career coach help you understand, because everyone's starting somewhere different. Everyone will have different experiences, and our job is to help make every experience that someone's had relevant to their target environment. We have folks that join us from nonprofit work, from volunteer work, Peace Corps, for example, teachers. Yes, we also have a few engineers. We have some programmers. We have some analysts. We have some project managers. Really all different kinds of professions. We have military veterans come, and they particularly struggle because they just don't think that what they've done is relevant, but it is so relevant in terms of the actual skills that they've developed. So that's our job. Let us help you really build and tell your story.
That makes sense. And I mean, you definitely helped me. I remember our first meeting and I was like, wow, I should have met with him weeks ago because I would just spend so much time going back and forth and editing, and really you came and everything that took me about a good month, you were able to figure out in like 2 sentences, like very
I'm a paid professional, Analisa.
Yeah, you do a great job. Diving more into what you said before, you said some people had their internships in the summer before the program even started.
Crazy, isn't it?
I remember, very crazy, because I remember.
But when you ran into those people, how did it hit you?
I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm behind.
Yeah. Yep.
I'm behind. My stuff is not together.
Do you remember what we tried to tell you?
Well, that's what I was going to ask you. Instead of, you don't hear my version of it, I'll mess the whole thing up. But in your opinion, or just what were some of the things that those students did to set themselves up for that? I didn't even know that was an option. So how does that possible?
There are more and more of employers are instituting pre-MBA programs over the summer, and they'll have meet and greets. Some of them will even start interviewing. And oftentimes they're aimed at specific kind of target groups that are very competitive. Maybe it's veterans. Oftentimes it's underrepresented students, and there are programs aimed at those students. And that typically is where a lot of the pre-summer work is targeted.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah. So kind of doing your research in advance, figure out what opportunities are aligned that you're actually qualified for.
Yes, and folks that are viewing this or listening to it, you'll begin hearing from us, and you'll get materials from us that list out all of the pre-MBA summer programs that we know about, and we'll try very hard to get you caught up very quickly.
Okay. But what you're also saying is, even if that doesn't work out for me, or if I'm just late to the game and I don't apply to any of those things, that doesn't necessarily mean I'm behind or anything.
Everyone finds success in their own time. And, there were clearly people that, and by people, there were a very small handful of students that had secured an internship before orientation. The bulk of internship recruiting, as you now know, occurs from December through the end of February. There is always a third of the class still looking for just that right internship, still recruiting in late March and April, and that's holding true this year. I'm actually seeing a lot more internship recruiting activity right now. Oh, wow. And by recruiting activity, I mean employers sending us internship job descriptions and job postings that they haven't filled yet, a lot more than we typically see this time of year. So
okay.
I'm going to take that as a good sign.
No, that's a great sign. So there's no timeline. It's more on when it's right for you, and don't compare when someone else gets something versus when you're going to get something.
I would agree with that, except that there is a timeline. There's a basic structure of when a lot of things happen. There are no deadlines.
There are no deadlines.
Yeah.
Okay, that's nice. That's good to hear. Now, when we talk about the actual summer, let's say we're in orientation now. We're past the summer. We're in orientation. Is there anything that you saw that made certain students stand out or just hit the ground running a little bit faster because of the things that they might have did over the summer?
I think I would say yes on both ends of the spectrum, right? I think I saw students get wide-eyed imposter syndrome, and we don't want that. I mean, everybody gets a little bit of imposter syndrome where you hear and you're getting to know your classmates, and you know, at the end of orientation, you're going to have 70 or 80 new best friends. You're already going to be an intimate cohort. We do it that way on purpose. That's one of the reasons you should come to Scheller. But you're going to hear about these amazing experiences that your classmates have had. But what you don't realize is your experiences have been amazing too.
Yeah.
And we work very, very hard to put you in groups to go through your first semester together that with very complementary skill sets and experiences. So, I see that, and we work very hard to try to help people through that quickly because it's a waste of energy. You wouldn't be in the room at orientation if you didn't deserve to be there.
Yeah.
That's the message. But the students that seem to have a lot of momentum are those students that have reflected, that have a pretty good idea of what they want, that have met with their advisor, that have kept up, that have on their assignments that you'll get over the summer. Yes, we'll provide you summer homework, as you well know, but that are kind of up to date, that have, taken time to kind of understand the landscape, and that, whether they have something secured or not, that they understand what's coming. Even if they aren't quite sure what they want to do, they understand that there's a process for them to figure that out. Those seem to be the students that are best prepared.
Okay, so just diving right in and kind of building a roadmap, not necessarily that you have to follow that exactly, but having some type of plan as to how you're going to tackle your recruitment or something like that. And
it's our job to meet with you over the summer to build that plan. And oh, by the way, the plan doesn't have to have an exact industry destination. The plan may be, how do I want to explore, right? The plan may be, how can I gather all of the data that I need? I mean, here you are. I well remember the conversation, right? Your target were 4 fabulous companies in 4 completely different industries.
Yeah.
I thought it was really cool. But I knew you had done your homework because they were 4 leaders in their industries, and I applauded that. So I see where Analisa's going, and it made sense. You couldn't say that your plan had a single destination.
Absolutely not.
But you had a plan to explore, and that's fine.
Okay. So let's say I've started. I'm doing orientation. I finished the summer. How can I get the best out of my relationship with career services? What are all the different resources you offer, opportunities for me to engage with you, minus like a meltdown from panicking? That's just something I did. But
we are there for that.
Okay.
I mean, there's a reason that we all have a box of Kleenex on our desk. Engage often. Don't be afraid to engage informally. Don't be afraid to pop by. That's why we're there. I mean, if there is a secret sauce that's really not a secret at all, we are blessed here at Scheller, Analisa, with a very rich advisor-to-student ratio. What I mean by that is we're always available to meet with students. There's nothing more important that we do than meet with students. And as I talk to my colleagues at other great programs, some of them even limit the amount of time students can meet with advisors, which really is exact opposite of us. So there's no limit. Take advantage of that. Come by often. The interesting thing about how we engage, and I think you took advantage of this a little bit, is you're not just limited to your one advisor. Okay, so we spend time every week as a team, we being the career services team, talking about every student. So every one of us knows what's going on with every student. And we're small enough that we can do that, so that when an Analisa comes and unnecessarily melts down, if her main advisor is busy with another student, everybody knows what's going on and anybody can help you.
I definitely took advantage of that. Out of is 4 full-time career services advisors?
Yes, 3 plus me.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So I literally have an example for each one. So Kevin with case competition, he kind of navigated and helped me through that. Caroline with mock interviews. I did mock interviews with Caroline. At the time, my career advisor was out of town or something. She was available. Teams chatted her. Yes, let's do it tomorrow. I just exhausted your office as much as possible. There would be times when you weren't there, and I'm like, man, where did he go? I'd wait around. And Larry, who was actually my career service advisor, he was just there every step of the way. So, and I think the coolest thing about it is there's no weird feeling if I don't go to someone who's not my career service advisor. And I think the other cool thing is you get the same level of service. Doesn't matter who you go to. Great advice, attentive. Caroline also helped me with some wardrobing things before. It's really great. I love the way your team's set up.
Well, and thank you for making that point. That's the whole idea. I mean, and it's good that you go to my colleague Caroline for wardrobe advice. Not that I would ever offer it to you, but look, you don't want to dress like this. I think that. One of the other things that's interesting as I look at the team, and I mean, really, when you talk about career services, yes, we have programming, we have tools, but at the end of the day, it's really the people, isn't it? And if you look at the team itself, I mean, there's, I think, over 150 years of industry experience,
wow.
Right? We all have, we've got a team member that was in the high-tech space. We got a team member that was in, consumer products, sales and marketing. We've got someone that was consulting. We've got someone that was in consumer products. I was in consulting for a very long time. So, I mean, we have a lot of industry experience. And the way we organize ourselves, again, throwing no shade towards any other wonderful program, most programs separate the function of employer relationships and student counseling.
Oh, okay.
And it's totally different teams. We don't. So the career coach spends most of their time with students, but they also spend time out with employers. I feel like we can best represent what's going on in the employment environment if we're spending some of our time there.
Yeah. We
can also represent our students better to employers if we're spending a lot of time with students. So it seems fairly intuitive to me, but it's a pretty unique model. But that's kind of the way we organize ourselves.
That's awesome, and it's clear. You can tell on both sides how you help students navigate the career journey, the emotional, and the academic. It's truly wonderful. Just a couple more questions here. First one is, do you have your favorite part of the job, or what's like the most rewarding thing to you? Nothing cliche.
Oh, come on.
I just enjoy the students.
I do. Okay, so don't take this the wrong way.
Oh, gosh.
It's not the student like you. You're a force of nature, okay?
Thank you.
There is no tool I could have used to keep you from being successful, right? Okay. You were going to be successful. To me, the great reward comes from that student that is really not sure of themselves, that really struggles with how to tell their story, that has a lot of doubt, that really questions their experience. Helping that student through the process of understanding what it is that they have to offer, and we all have something to offer. Yeah. But representing that, getting them connected with the right kind of employment environment, that is the success that, at least for me personally, is the most rewarding.
That's extremely touching. That was so not cliche. That's really cool.
Well, thank you. It's very true.
And I could see that, like, wanting to work with someone and then seeing that come full circle. They get the dream job that they didn't even think about applying for because they were nervous about it. And it's like, wow.
Yeah,
like,
that's way cool.
That's very cool. Not the person who's like, I'm not going to make myself sound awful. But
you're not, no, but you know, you've been very kind in your praise, and perhaps we helped you a bit, but you're going to be successful.
Thank you.
Right, and perhaps we can help accelerate that success. Great, but not everybody's starting at a different place.
Yeah, and I think for students who might find themselves kind of like me, where you're a little bit maybe more sure of yourself and maybe a little overconfident, in some cases, but just extremely confident. What I really got out of career services was the emotional support. Because it doesn't matter, you can be as smart as I don't know what, you can be as structured and as confident, you're going to have some emotional changes in the program. Thank you so much for joining us today, Dave. This was really great. Is there any last words you want to give as advice for students coming into the program this fall, I guess?
Sure. The most successful Scheller student is someone that is willing to help others, but also is willing to be helped themselves. And I would say over the summer, this is tactically very conflicting advice. Keep up with the assignments, do the assignments, engage with your career coach, try to get some rest. It's a fabulous experience, but it's an intense experience. And then finally, reflect. Give yourself some quiet time, reflect. What are the things about your working life to this point that you've really enjoyed? What are some things that you might want to redirect? And then let's throw that in the pot, mix it up, and see what kind of soup we get.
That's so great. I want to start all over again. No, I'm kidding. All right. He's like, wait a minute. Thank you so much for tuning into another episode of the Intersection Podcast with our special guest today, Dave Deiters. If you're watching this on YouTube, know that you can also find us on SoundCloud, Apple, and Spotify. Thanks again.